I also want to point out, as I was moving hands here, I realized the headlight corner here is pretty sharp. Now, in some of the cars which I felt, this is dangerously sharp. There should have been some kind of a buffing here to make it smoother. Let me just demonstrate the sharpness here, because generally if someone were to wipe and put their finger here, they can actually cut their finger. Let me just demonstrate that for you. I have with me here an apple, and I'm just going to run it across. So if you see, the skin has peeled off. So it just demonstrates how sharp these edges here at this corner is. Though it's beautifully synchronized and everything is nice about the edging here, very beautifully sculpted and very beautifully placed, but this sharp bit is a little disconcerting. Yeah, my apple has been peeled. So Maruti, please do something about these two edges on the headlamps. It can hurt people. Welcome to the Motown India show. My name is Tharyan. We are here in the city of Udaipur in the North Indian state of Rajasthan to review the all-new Celerio from Maruti Suzuki. And in fact, we are part of the national media drive. Journalists from all across the country have come in here in this city. And Maruti Suzuki is playing host to this event. They've taken care of our accommodation, our flight tickets and our food. Thank you, Maruti. But we're going to be fair when it comes to the review of the all-new Celerio. So let's check out what this new model is all about. How new is this all-new Celerio? To begin with, this gets a new K-Series petrol engine. But we'll come to the performance later. First, let me take you around and talk about the changes which you visually get to see. Stay tuned. And as we go along, if you like this video, do not forget to give us the thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed to the Motown India channel, do so now, please. So when it comes to the dimensions of the all-new Celerio, well, it is ditto. Compared to the old Celerio, this one is also similar in length, but the wheelbase is just about 10 mm longer, and of course the width has gone up a wee bit by 5 mm and the height is a little down. The ground clearance remains the same at a remarkable 160 odd mm. Now let's talk about the front. Overall, the vehicle now gets a 3D sculpted look. By sculpted look and 3D means it's got a very dimensional look about itself. It's very rounded, very curvy, and looks a lot more like a beautiful car. Now, coming to the front portion, you realize that the bonnet itself has got a nice shape to it. The grille here is absolutely new, this new signature grille with a Suzuki badging. A lot of chrome inserts here, which is good. Chrome strip to be more precise, at both ends. At the bottom here, you find a one-piece lengthy horizontal cladding, and it's plastic, and of course embedded here are the fog lamps. The unfortunate part here is Maruti should have given a DRL. Now, even small two-wheelers and e-rickshaws are going for LED and DRLs. Now, this is kind of missing here in this car. It's a halogen lamp here, Could have been projector lamps, would have been wonderful, but halogen headlamps. Then you have the conventional indicators. Then the fog lamp too is the conventional bulb. So the technology here could have been a little better. Now coming to the side profile, it's pretty decent to start with. They get these new R15 alloy wheels. They're dark in color and look quite sporty. Now as you move the back, you realize these are electrically adjustable ORVMs with indicators. So there, it's quite modern. And also interesting here is there is this sensor switch here. If you have the smart key in your pocket, all you have to do is press it. It either gets locked and this folds in and you can open it too. Now I'll lock it. So that's an interesting feature here. Now you get this sensor switch on both sides. So we have a smart key and a smart sensor. This entire roof area is a little curved. It gives a little sporty look. We have a very conventional antenna. Well, it's almost an entry-level car, so you can't expect a shark fin antenna there. And also remember, Maruti Suzuki has its own accessories for this car, and there are around a dozen with an entire range of combinations. So with a cost of approximately around 45,000 rupees, you can get your car completely refurbished in a very modern way, and that looks quite sporty. We did notice one. We'll show you that in a moment. Now coming to the rear of the all-new Celerio, first thing you notice, it has some kind of an integrated spoiler which looks kind of cute and sporty. And this tail lamp is absolutely new. It's a kind of a droplet design. You can notice it's getting narrow here, very much like a droplet, very well designed. And talking about that sensor switch, it gets one here too. So if you have the smart key in your pocket, you can press it and you can open it. And once you open it, you have a very cavernous boot. It's quite deep. You can keep a few suitcases here. For a small car like this, that's great. You can lock it. It gets a rear wiper, and this is the slot for the washer fluid. Not to be missed is this high mounted stop light, and the lines, there is a rear defogger too. As you go to the bottom, you realize it's a very chunky bumper here with reflectors and two sensors here on either side. So let's check out what the occupants inside get. To begin with, let's see what the driver gets. Let me talk about the seat first. Very comfortable, and also remember, since the wheelbase has slightly increased and the width has also slightly increased, it means there's a little more leg space and a little more shoulder space or little more shoulder room inside the vehicle. We're going to check it out. I'm in the driver's position, and always the driver gets the best of all the worlds. This seat can be adjusted for height. So if I keep pushing it up, you can rise up and bring it down. So depending on how tall you are, you can make yourself very comfortable as a driver. And this, of course, lever here is for the recline. Very basic. And of course, there is this bar here at the bottom. You can manually adjust the position of the seat. So that brings you to the end of the seat. It's cushiony, it's comfortable, it's got a good backrest, it's got a good under thigh support. I'm happy. Now to talk a little more about the seat, you notice that both the front seats have an integrated headrest, which is very okay for a car in this segment. Let's see what the driver gets. He gets a very sporty looking steering wheel. It's got just the basic controls here. It's also got a tilt feature. It's not telescopic, but it is tilt adjustable. So let me adjust it there and lock it up with the lever at the bottom. Coming to the instrument cluster, it's quite bright, decent and very limited. You have a speedometer, which is kind of analog, and then you have a digital small circular screen out there which has various functions. You have one for the tachometer, which of course talks about the RPM. Then you have the odometer with 2 trip meters, and then once you press this, you can go through the various features and functions. What I get here is this engine start-stop feature. All you have to do is depress the clutch and start it, and you can switch it off. It will not start without this, so it's kind of a safety feature. The switch next to it is also a start-stop, but this is an idle start-stop feature, which we all know conserves fuel. So if you switch it off, it means that this is deactivated. If you switch it on, it means the moment you hit the traffic light and you stop your vehicle and the vehicle is idling for a few seconds, it senses that and stops the vehicle. The moment the light turns green, all you have to do is press the clutch and it starts on its own. The real effect is it conserves fuel, which is really good in today's time when fuel prices are so high. And we have some switches and buttons here. This switch is here to fold your ORVM, and this left and right, and left is to adjust your ORVM. This is to adjust the left one, this is to adjust the right one. Once you move it to the right, you have to move this button up and down to adjust the mirror. Okay, and you also find a little rotary knob here. This is basically a headlight levelizer, and right at the bottom you have this little lever kind. Once you pull it, your bonnet cover opens up. Now let's come to the area in front. The dash is pretty exciting to look at. The plastic material used is pretty decent, and the design is also overall pretty smart. This comes with a 7-inch touch screen. If you notice, the doors do not have any switches or buttons to operate the window panes. So it's done from here. The front ones are done from here, and this is of course to lock that function. So this is the hazard light. This is to lock and unlock. And here, very basic and minimal, this is the direction flow of the air conditioner. These are the defoggers. This is the air conditioner button. Then you have the temperature setting and the direction setting. This is going very manual, very basic. And equally interesting are these AC vents. These are vertical and well designed. They look good. And if you see at the on either side, it's it's more like a barrel design. It's got, if you take a closer look, there is a diffuse chrome look to it and a feel to it, and these slats look quite interesting and quite sporty. So we have here an IRVM or an inside rear view mirror with a little switch kind of stuff where you press it down and up. Since these are prismatic mirrors, it acts as an anti-glare during the night. So the moment you move it up, it's an anti-glare. So during the day, you have to bring it down. So very effective. And when it comes to the Sun visor is here, no mirror here, a vanity mirror here. You have the cabin light here. At this level you get a 12 volt charging slot here. Then you have a USB slot here, and an aux in here, which is good. There is some space to store knickknacks. You can put your glass or a small bottle here, so enough decent storage space here. So since this is the top variant, you get airbags in front, the two airbags. You can see SRS airbag here, and there's an SRS airbag here, so the driver and the co-passenger both in front get airbags. Coming to storage, you have a pretty big glove box, and of course there's enough storage on the skin panel on the doors. Now that I'm comfortable in the front seat and I've positioned myself well, I am around 5 feet 10. I'm now going to go at the back to find out what's the kind of space available for the rear occupants. Like I said, I adjusted the front seat according to my comfort and to my liking. And now when I come to the rear, I realize there is so much of space for the rear passenger. Now look at that. You know, your knee to this front seat is huge. The headroom is beautiful. If there are two passengers sitting here, the shoulder room is amazing. If three of us are sitting here, it becomes a tight squeeze for the person sitting in the middle. And moreover, there is this hump here, so a person sitting will have to sit like this with legs on either side. This is very uncomfortable. And the rear seat too is got an integrated headrest, which I find doesn't make sense to tall people, so it's virtually ineffective. But the seats per se are very, very comfortable, and this seat here has a pocket. I wish this too had a pocket. I'm sure it can be changed for a pocket. There are 3-point seat belts for passengers on two sides. One locks here, and of course for the middle passenger it is a lap belt. To adjust the window panes on either side, the switches are here. And equally important is the fact that this seat is 60-40 split. Here is the lever. Bring it down, you got access to the boot space here, and the other one too can be brought down, so a lot of stuff can be stored here in case it's just two of you in this vehicle. This is a 5-speed automatic transmission. Please remember, this is not an engine meant for performance, rather it's all about fuel efficiency, and one has to drive very rationally and carefully and ensure that you follow the rules of the land. In India, most of the cities have speed limits of 30, 40, 50 and 60. You do have speed limits of 70, 80 and 100 or 120 in highways, but that's the max. So this small vehicle has got adequate power, adequate torque, and we want to see, is it adequate for highways? And I'm driving alone. I realize I'm on the 5th gear and it's already topped 100. So I didn't realize it. And the beauty about this engine is that as long as you step on the accelerators in a very gentle way, the speed picks up gradually. But if you were to hard press, then what happens? It tends to downshift to generate that power, and then it starts moving. It's like getting ready to move, and you feel that, hey, something's going wrong, but nothing's going wrong. The only thing happening is it is generating the power so that you can move faster. (120), and braking is good. There was a guy who just braked right in the middle on the high speed lane, and I applied the brakes gently. It was quite adequate and forceful. The NVH levels, I would say, kind of okay. There is a lot of sound which is seeping in, which I really don't mind, because as an Indian we get used to so much of noise that is part of our system. Yes, there is a harsh sound from the engine when it accelerates, when you step on the accelerator hard, which is obvious. It's a 3-cylinder fellow and he's trying his best to generate enough power. As for the suspension, I would say it's neither soft, neither too stiff, so I guess it's kind of okay for Indian roads. But if you were to hit a speed bump pretty hard, it might just bottom out. But till now, the experience was pretty good. As for the ride and handling, that too is pretty good for a small car like this. Now, who's going to buy this car? It's an ideal pick for those who want to move beyond the Alto and into a car that gives some kind of fancy features. Those fancy features I explained separately, but yes, this car does have a few of these features which could be a boon to a lot of city drivers. Let me reiterate the point. This car is not about performance like a lot of people feel. The moment you see the figures out there, oh, this car doesn't have 120 HP, it doesn't have a 200 Newton meters of torque, इसमें power ही नहीं है. भाई power है 120 kilometers per hour, which is the max speed on a highway. I'm traveling, I traveled, it didn't complain. Well, now if I were to put 4 more people in the car, it might stress and strain a bit, but eventually it's going to perform. I've just finished driving the automatic variant of the all-new Celerio. I'm not so much of an automatic guy. I am in favor of manual transmissions. The real driver in you comes out when you drive with a manual transmission. Both the manual transmission as well as the AGS, which is the automatic transmissions, are 5-speed transmissions. You have an option to drive completely on the automatic mode in an AGS, but you also have a manual mode where you can manually shift the gears. But what's the point when you buy an automatic, drive automatic? So let's check out this 5-speed manual transmission. Okay, now the beauty about manual transmission is that you drive according to your needs and you slot the gears smartly. Now I am in the 4th gear already, and absolutely linear and absolutely fun. It is an awesome transmission, and the engine is so beautifully tuned to the transmission. I mean, so well integrated. Both of them work so much in perfect tandem. So I'm right now in the 5th gear, and this is a highway which the maximum speed is 80 kilometers, but I'm going to just stop it at 120 just to get the feel how fast and how efficient this new K series engine is. So you hear the constant beeps. It is awesome. So I'm going to reduce my speed. I'm going to go back into being a good citizen, please remember that when you are driving on the Indian roads, please adhere to your speed limit. It's very important. So this manual transmission is an absolute delight. I must say the engineering team at Maruti Suzuki has done a great job. This is a super efficient, oh, I almost hit a bird. It is a super efficient engine.